This is Ian Cameron for Sportsbook Review with your NHL Early Lines report for the games on Tuesday, December 27th. Back at it following the Christmas break. Let's get to some of the marquee games on the slate. We'll start with the Ottawa Senators taking on the New York Rangers. And the Rangers went going into the Christmas break, and they laid an egg on home ice prior to the break in their final game, a 7-4 loss against the Minnesota Wild. A very poor showing from the New York Rangers. In fact, two bad losses, 7-2, 7-4 against Pittsburgh and Minnesota prior to the Christmas break. So this is a spot where I'm not looking to go against the Rangers. I expect them to really come out with a big effort here after the way they limped into the break. Ottawa, on the other hand, playing very good into the break. 4 games in a row that they won prior to the break. The concern that I have, and this is something I look to do in the first day or two of NHL action after the Christmas break, teams that were red hot going into the break, I think their momentum is stopped a little bit, and maybe I look to bet against teams like that, such as Ottawa here, and teams that maybe were struggling a little bit, especially if they're good teams like the Rangers, who have been very good most of the season. Those are teams I usually look to bet on. They come out of the break with a little extra motivation, incentive to get back on track. And for that reason, I'd look to the Rangers, maybe in the puck line. I can't lay that big of a price with them right now, minus 170, but certainly would look to support the Rangers if I had to in some form in that game. Boston-Columbus next game. How about the Columbus Blue Jackets? Boy, oh boy. They just keep winning games. It doesn't matter if it's a bad spot, a flat spot. On paper, they still find a way to win games. That's what they did against Montreal on Friday night in their final game following prior to the Christmas break. A 2-1 win against Montreal. Of course, the night before, huge statement game for Columbus hosting the defending Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins, and they absolutely plaster the Pens by a score of 7-1. And now, it'll be interesting to see how this Columbus team plays now. They're just on an incredible winning streak, franchise record, and they'll look to keep that going here as they host the Boston Bruins. They're hoping that the Christmas break doesn't throw their rhythm off. 12-game winning streak for this Columbus team on the line here against a Boston team that's played very, very good on the road. And Tuukka Rask in particular, how about a 7-2 record, 1.99 goals against average in his career against the Blue Jackets, including 2 victories against them last season. This could be a live underdog here. I'm not going to bet against Columbus in the midst of this streak, but I think Boston might be a team that has a chance at least to end that streak. So I'll slightly into the Bruins there, and you're getting a good price, as you always are now, when you're trying to go against Columbus during this streak. Plus 135, the price with Boston would lean a little bit to the Bruins here in that game. Pittsburgh, New Jersey. Pittsburgh Penguins, of course, took their frustrations out on New Jersey following that brutal 7-1 loss against Columbus. New Jersey was on the receiving end of Pittsburgh, a 4-1 loss for the New Jersey Devils against Pittsburgh on Friday before the break. Now they have the rematch here between these same two teams in New Jersey. And like I mentioned, the Devils have been on a long-term over-the-total streak. Signs, though, that might be coming to an end. This New Jersey team's really had trouble scoring goals. They've now gone under the total in 2 straight games. 4-0 win against Philly. Prior to that, though, during this losing streak, they've been held to 2 goals or less now in 8 of their last 9 games. So it's been a real problem finding the back of the net lately for the New Jersey Devils. But again, you got Pittsburgh beating New Jersey going into the break. Now they're playing again, these same 2 teams against each other coming out of the break. I don't know if I can trust New Jersey, but if I had to bet it, I'd lean to the Devils, in a quick turnaround revenge spot here at home, catching a nice plus price. But not probably a game I'm going to bet in the end. Here's a game I'm going to bet, Buffalo and Detroit. We're going to come back to this game for play of the day for Tuesday, December 27. I'll get back to this bet at the end of the video. Minnesota, Nashville. Very interesting game here because just like with Pittsburgh, New Jersey, where Pittsburgh beat New Jersey 4-1. New Jersey's going to look to avenge that loss. And you got the same situation here. Minnesota, really dismantled Nashville prior to the break. A nice win for the Minnesota Wild and the team that was really in good form going into the break, Minnesota. They beat Nashville by a score of 5-2. Actually, it was a week ago in Nashville. A nice road win for the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota, what can you say? Just a tremendous run for them going into the break. They have won 10 straight games. That's impressive. But now your momentum slowed up a little bit. Now you're playing this Nashville Predators team where they've been pretty good at home ice. They've not been as good at home lately, though. It's been weird. They've actually lost 3 of their last 4 home games, including a 4-0 loss to the LA Kings in their final game before the break. That came on the 22nd, so plenty of time off here for this Nashville Predators team. We'll see how they're able to handle it. But I do have a concern here for Minnesota. I mean, Nashville is a team they beat right here in Music City, 5-2. I think it gets Nashville's attention, and you look at it, how is Minnesota this red hot, yet they're an underdog? I think they're an underdog here for a reason. I think odds makers sense it. This is a good spot for Nashville, and I tend to agree with them. I'd look to the Predators there as a small home favorite to take care of business and get the win against Minnesota. We've got Winnipeg, Chicago. I'll tell you what, Chicago, even when the Colorado Avalanche are absolute crap, they still give Chicago fits. Look what happened right before the break. Colorado ends up with a big victory against the Chicago Blackhawks, 2-1 in overtime. A Colorado team that was absolutely sputtering going into that break, and they end up beating Chicago. So, again, the Blackhawks seem to have trouble with the Avalanche, and they did again. Winnipeg's been a disappointment. They're a team that's really struggled. They have won 3 of their last 4, but they beat Florida at home. Not a very good team. They beat Colorado at home, not a very good team. They beat Vancouver on the road. I mean, all the wins have come against weaklings. Chicago's coming off that home loss to Colorado. This is not a spot where I'm looking to endorse the big underdog Winnipeg Jets. Calgary taking on Colorado. Again, give Colorado credit for finally winning a game. 2-1 win against the Chicago Blackhawks in Chicago, but now they're back home, and boy, have they been awful at home. Just pathetic have the Avalanche been on home ice. They're now 0-7, the Avalanche, in their last 7 home games. It's been an absolute 0-8 rather in their last 8 home games. It's been a disaster for Colorado on home ice. I don't see any reason Calgary can't go in there and get a win. You have to lay a little bit of a price here, but I'd certainly look to the Flames, -135, -140. I don't trust Colorado either to win 2 games in a row. Last time they beat Boston 4-2. Montreal, the next game, beats them 10-1. They beat Toronto on the road, can't follow it up. Return home, they lose to the Flyers 4-3. This team's not won 2 games in a row in a long, long time. I don't trust them to do it here, so would look to the Calgary Flames in that game. All right, let's wrap it up. San Jose, Anaheim, always a great rivalry. This taking place on the Tuesday slate, and it's been very tightly contested. And in fact, Anaheim has gotten the better of San Jose the last 2 meetings this season. Anaheim won 3-2 in San Jose, and Anaheim then won 3-2 at home against San Jose when these teams met back on December 9th. I think this is a spot, though, for San Jose to maybe get this team. Anaheim ended their pre-Christmas schedule, the big long road trip, 6-game road trip, and they lost the last 2 games of that trip, 5-1 in Montreal, 2-1 in overtime against Ottawa. They fly home, they have spent time with their families, and you just wonder if maybe after the trip, the long East Coast trip, the Christmas break, back home with the family, that maybe this team's just not fully focused yet on hockey right off the hop here in their first game. I think it's more of a problem coming out of the break for Anaheim maybe than for San Jose in this game. And I think San Jose now, having lost 2 straight to Anaheim, are going to be looking to turn the tide here in this hockey game. And again, San Jose getting a couple of their injured guys back, including Logan Couture, who missed some time. Anaheim still dealing with a couple of injuries on the blue line. That's definitely something you want to keep in mind. I think San Jose is the side I'd bet in that game. Anaheim right around an even money price. You can get around +100, -105 with the Sharks. I'd look to San Jose and look to back them to get the win in that one. All right, let's go back to our play of the day. It's going to be from the Buffalo-Detroit game. And I'll tell you what, anytime Detroit's favored, I'm interested in betting against them, because this has not been a good team. This has been a team that's been a disappointment, a team that's just 7-12 on home ice this season, and it's a team that, when they're favored, I don't trust them. I mean, Detroit going into the break, they did beat Florida 4-3 in a shootout, give them credit for that, but their wins have been few and far between, and especially on home ice, you look at their record, they're just 1-4 in their last 5 home games. Not very good. And the Buffalo Sabres, from what I've read, they were struggling going into the break. I understand that. 4 straight losses against Carolina twice, Florida, and the New York Islanders. Dan Bylsma sort of read his team the riot act prior to the Christmas break and saying hopefully the Christmas break sort of straightens us out, gets us mentally back to where we need to be. He was not pleased. The team overall was not pleased with the way they played and the way they finished up their pre-Christmas schedule. I think there's going to be a Buffalo Sabres team taking the ice with a little bit of a purpose here in this hockey game. And let's not forget, this is still a very injury-riddled, banged-up Detroit team with a ton of injuries. Mike Green on defense is out. Jimmy Howard's out. Darren Helm's out. Thomas Yurko may not play. Brian Lashoff on defense may not play in this game. Justin Abdelkader's on IR. Alexei Marchenko's out. I mean, there's just Brendan Smith on the blue line. It's just a laundry list of key injuries right now for the Detroit Red Wings, and that's not a team I trust to come out of the break with a strong game, especially as a home favorite. The Detroit Red Wings, when they have a very poor home record, as I said, Detroit 7-12 in 19 home games this season. That's not a track record I like as a favorite, and it's a track record I'm willing to bet against in this spot. Let's take Buffalo, the Sabres, plus 115, rotation number 9. Buffalo, plus 115 to get a road win against the Detroit Red Wings. That's your play of the day for December 27th. In NHL action. All right, that'll wrap up my look at NHL early lines for Tuesday, December 27th. I'm Ian Cameron for Sportsbook Review. Until next time, enjoy the games and good luck.
Do your research before you bet. Check out our ratings guide to see which books have the best ratings and sign-up bonuses. Open up several accounts. Shop for lines at sbrodds.com. Always be ahead of the game.